Democrats can dish it out, people. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. They can't take what they dish out. They don't like to reap what they've sown. You know, the word of God said, whatsoever a man soweth, that and only that will he reap. So what we're witnessing now in America is a lot of stuff coming back on Democrats. Some of the things that they've done is coming back on them, and they can't stand it. They can't stand the fact that America is not in love with Joe Biden. Even though he's putting all kind of unnecessary pressures on American citizens, uncalled for, mandating vaccines, or else you lose your job. I'm losing patience with you. We don't even want to get into that. But what I want to talk about is how hypocritical Democrats are and how they're crying foul and claiming that Republicans are thugs and we're evil and we're disrespecting the office of the presidency, when they have done worse to conservative Republican presidents. Okay, so in my lifetime, I've never seen such disrespect for the office of the president until George W. Bush got in office. Now, there was no, it didn't matter what he did. It didn't matter whether they agreed with their policies or not. And I'm the kind of person, I see it like this. Yes, the office of the presidency should be respected, but whether you agree with their policies or not. But it comes a time when you need to speak up. And another thing, and one of the reasons why Republicans are doing what they're doing, and it's not all Republicans either. It's not all the Republicans going, let's go Brandon, because that's what this is all about. This is what they're upset about, is the let's go Brandon chants that's going on. Because if it was left up to the liberal media, they would cover all that up. But it's so big, it's happening all over in all different kinds of sporting events that they can't cover it up. And in fact, that's how we got the let's go Brandon meme. It's because a liberal reporter was trying to cover up what the chants really were, even though you could easily hear it in the background. So she tried to tell that guy, that Brandon, was it the race car driver, I think? They're cheering for you. They're saying, let's go Brandon. It's a joke. So now it has taken off, and they're upset about that. But I remember when George W. Bush was in office, okay? They talked about him like that. It was no respect at all for him. Now, whether you agree with his policies or not, like I say, you still should respect the office of the presidency, but they didn't. They had all kind of cartoons with guns to his head, wanting to assassinate him, his family. Nobody's off limits to liberals. They have no decency about them. Nobody's off limits. Children, spouses, if they hate the man in office, if they hate the president, the Republican president, as always, is never in it. They never hate the liberal presidents, even though they're the ones that mess up everything. They're the ones that destroy the country. Their policies are the one that's never any good for all Americans, but they don't never hate them. But a Republican gets in office, they hate him. But the difference between Bush and Trump is, first of all, they're worse with Trump. Okay, I thought they were bad with George Bush. They're way, 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 way worse with Trump's. But the difference between the two is Trump fought back. See, Biden didn't fight back. I mean, not Biden. Bush didn't fight back. Bush took it. And then they never stopped. Trump fought back. And that's why they hate him. And he's still fighting back. And I'm getting to this point about Trump fighting back. I am tired of hearing so-called Trump supporters saying they don't want Trump to run anymore because he's too mean. They want him to be nicer. If he runs this time, will he be nicer? They want Trump. They want Trump policies. They want Trump, put America first. They want all of that hard work that Trump did, but they want somebody else to do it. Somebody that's going to be nice. I've even read where some of these stupid people are saying, that's right, they're stupid, that Trump should have been, if Trump had been nicer to the media, he should have been nice. He shouldn't have called them fake. These are supposed to be Trump voters, Trump supporters, that said if he had been a little nicer to the media, maybe they wouldn't have been so hard on him. Are they crazy? Because first of all, let me tell you something about Donald Trump. Every time he punched somebody, it was a punch back. Trump never started any arguments with anybody. All the mean tweets are in response to what someone had said about him. Somebody had lied about him about. That's why he was fighting back. He was fighting back. He didn't start anything. And I'm glad he did, because I don't like weak people. I don't like a weak person. I'm glad he fought back. And they don't like that. Liberals want you to take it. Just like any other bully, they want you to take the abuse. Just take it. But when you fight back, they get mad. So that's why Trump fought back. But right now, we're seeing America. It's not just Trump supporters. It's not just Republicans. It's not just conservatives. People all over America are sick of Joe Biden. And so that's why all these chats are breaking out. And so now all these liberals are upset on Twitter. The same liberals that said all kind of evil things about Trump. But now that it's being said about their guy, they're mad about it. So they can't take it. They say, you reap what you sow. That's all I have to say about it. But this is another thing. To me, this is all payback. There's a lot of payback going on right now. It's payback for stupidity. It's payback for voting for somebody based on emotion. Payback for ignoring a good president that works for everybody, and you hated him simply because the media told a bunch of lies about him and said he was a racist. And even though all of America, not one American citizen could complain about the policies. They all benefited from Trump's policies. And whenever I hear people still on Twitter talking about Trump this, because when they hear all this stuff about Biden, they get mad and call themselves fighting back, trying to defend Biden. Well, Trump this, and I always ask them, which one of Trump's policies negatively affected you? Crickets. I never hear anything. We're glad we got rid of Trump. He's better than Trump. Which one of Trump's policies that you didn't benefit from? Crickets, okay? So let's talk about black people, because, the reason I haven't been making videos, because I'm telling you, I'm fed up. Okay, for 4 years, myself, other conservative voters, black conservatives, tried to warn black people about the Democrat Party. But it went in something that just fell on deaf ears, I guess. We told you of Joe Biden's history, and all this was facts that could have been researched. We told you how much of a racist Joe Biden really is. Joe Biden wrote the crime bill and bragged about it. Yet black people complained about mass incarceration for years. Yet they still turn around and voted for Joe Biden, saying, we're voting for the lesser of the two evils. This is stupid stuff they said. So Joe Biden gets in office, and what does he do? What does he do? He stabbed black people in the back. The first thing he did, which was cutting the funding for the historical black colleges and universities. Okay? Now, when Donald Trump got in office, the first thing he did was he requested a meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus. You know why he did that? He says, come and meet with me and tell me what we need to do to help the black community. That's what he said. He said that to them. You know what they did? They sent a letter back. They refused to meet with Donald Trump. You know why they refused to meet with him? Because first of all, everybody that's been talking about Trump, all the black Democrats, all the black people, they know Trump is about business. They know he doesn't play around when he comes to getting stuff done. They knew if they met with Trump, he would do something to help black people. And they knew that they didn't have any intention of helping black people, because they haven't in all these other years. The Congressional Black Caucus has never had any intentions to help black people. So they knew if they had met with Trump and he said, let's help black people, and it would have been on the record that they didn't want to help black people. So what they did, they wrote him a letter claiming, we don't want to meet with you because you're not trying to help black people. You're trying to cut food stamps. Okay, so basically they're saying that's what's helping black people, nothing else. And the fact that he's trying to get them off of food stamps and get them a good job and good education, that was not going to help them. So that's what they wrote him back. They refused to meet with him because it would have been on record that they didn't want to help black people. That's the whole reason, because they knew if they had met with him, he would. But Trump sent for the presidents of the historical black colleges and universities. He sent for them and said, come. And they went. And he says, tell me what it is that you all want. And they told him they needed funding, and he gave it to them. Now, Obama, this is all can be fact-checked, people. Obama cut the funding. He cut the funding for the historical black colleges. Trump made it so in fact, Trump gave them more money than any president in history. That can be checked. And he also made it so they didn't have to keep coming back so regularly. Because evidently they had to come back, every so often and ask for more money. He fixed it so they didn't have to come back as much. And he gave them more funding than any president in history. The historical black colleges. When the presidents of those colleges met with Donald Trump, he told him what they wanted, and he gave it to them. Okay. Now, when some of those presidents went back to their schools, people were mad at them. Some of the students in the faculty were mad at the black presidents for going to meet with the racist Donald Trump, even though they got what they wanted from him. What has Joe Biden done? He's cut the funding by millions, by billions. He's cut the funding of the historical black colleges when 90% of black people voted for him. Joe Biden did that, but we could have told you that, but you ignored that. You ignored all that. But this is what puts the icing on the cake. This is the biggest slap in the face for black voters, the one that voted for him, that has happened under his administration. He has said that he wants to give reparations to illegal aliens because they were hurt by Trump. They were hurt because President Trump wouldn't let them into the country. So President Trump would not let illegal aliens into the country. So because of that, they were hurt. So Joe Biden wants to give them, he calls it reparations for people that's not even citizens, $450,000 a piece. Now, if that's not a slap in the face of black people that voted for him, I don't know why. Because what did we have all during the lead up to the 2020? We had the ADOS people talking about they wanted reparations. They just kept talking about they wanted reparations. And there's another thing. But what gets me is this, when I think about this reparation argument, or reparations debate, is Barack Obama, the first black president, as soon as he got in office and they brought it up to him about reparations, he told them that he didn't believe in reparations. And when he told him that, that was the end of it. He spent 8 years in office and not one time did they go back up to him or complain to him or harass him about reparations. When he says, I don't want it, I don't believe in it, that was the end of it. So they go 8 years and leave it alone. And then when he's out of office and the white man gets in office again, another white man, basically, doesn't matter whether it was Republican or Democrat, it still was a white man in office. Here they go talking about reparations again. So Sheila Jackson Lee, you know, she knew that the Democrats were not going to give black people any reparations. She knows that, but she still had this little hearing, in the House about reparations to see should we, that was just to, make black people think that hey, they might, consider giving us reparations, but they never have ever had any intentions of giving people reparations. So what do? But Joe Biden comes out and says he wants to give illegal aliens, not the struggling Americans, not black people, not the homeless vets, nobody, no American citizens. He doesn't want to give them anything, but he wants to give it to illegal aliens. Now, if that's not a slap in the face to black people, I don't know what is. But do you think they'll wake up? No. And you know what they'll do? Instead of waking up and seeing that they've been played and made a fool out of again, just like they've always been with Democrats, they'll get on here and call me names instead of waking up. Listen, I'm the kind of person, some of them have already doubled down on Biden. On Twitter, when people bring this stuff up, they claim it ain't true, or else they start talking about Trump. At least Trump. You know what? That's what they do. They won't admit that they're wrong and they made a mistake. I'll admit that I made a mistake when I've been duped. George W. Bush duped me, and I'll tell anybody that. I fought for him. I supported him. I went to war. I proudly went to Iraq. And I told people, I don't mind going to Iraq for Bush. Bush is a good president. He fooled me. I didn't know he was the way he was. So I'll admit when I've been duped. But a lot of these black Democrats and these pro-black people, they're not going to admit that they've been made a fool out of by Joe Biden. They're not going to admit that. They're not. So that's why, to me, after 4 years of being people doing videos, very good influencers, black conservative influencers, they're still on every day now, putting out excellent work. And it went in one ear and out the other. And I'm the kind of person, I don't have the patience to keep repeating something over and over to somebody about what they should be doing and what about facts, about history, everything that could be easily looked up, easily researched. And instead, they go right back to being made a fool out of and led around by their emotions talking about racism. So you had a president that was giving you everything. Trump made a platinum plan? You remember? Ice Cube met with the Trump administration. They refused. The Democrats said, come back after the election. That's what they told Ice Cube. But Trump had a $5 billion platinum? A platinum agenda for the black Americans. And he would have done it because everything Donald Trump has ever said he was going to do, he's done. But he always said, come tell me what you want. He had already put that together had he rightfully taken the White House like he should have. And everything would have been different. But now Democrats are in office and they throwing black people under the bus as usual, giving reparations. And like I said, I seriously doubt they can give $450,000 to each illegal, because I don't even know where they're gonna get the money. But the fact that he would even suggest something like that is appalling. That's so disrespectful to all Americans, not just black people, but any American, to give your money reparation to people because they were hurt because they were not allowed to illegally enter somebody else's country. So I just wanted to talk about that. I just bring you up to status about what I feel is payback for some of the foolishness. I feel that the Democrats are getting that payback for the way they treated Trump with this "Let's Go Brandon" stuff. And people are marching off jobs and protesting. People are not being silent, and these are not all conservatives that are upset. And the media don't want you to know that. They want you to think it's crazy. Republicans bullies conservative voters, and they're thugs. I read an article today where somebody, I think it was the Washington Post, saying that because they're upset about all these chants going around. They're upset about the Southwest pilot that landed the plane and said, "Let's go, Brandon." Everybody's saying it. And they're upset about it because they're saying they're disrespecting the presidency. But they didn't think anything about disrespecting President Trump or any other Republican. They'll attack their family members. They'll attack anybody. So now they're getting what they're getting. And black people are reaping what they've sown for keep continuing to vote for these Democrats, and then they get nothing. I mean, they're silent, though. I hadn't heard too many of these people say anything. I wish they would. I want to hear what they have to say. Maybe I haven't paid attention, but I haven't heard too many of these pro-black people say anything about being thrown under the bus by Biden, cutting the funding for the historical black colleges, and offering $450,000 to illegal aliens, and has said anything to you at all. But you remember, when he first got elected, he said he wasn't going to do anything for you. You remember that meeting he had, and Kamala was in the meeting too, and he's like, "I'm not doing nothing for y'all. I've done enough for you black people. I'm not doing anything." Remember he said that? Talked to those people that were on that phone call like they were children. That's how he feels about black people. That's how he feels about you. So you can get on here and call me all the names you want to, but you can't refute anything I've just said. Nobody can. Have a blessed day.